Hello, Heroscape lovers! It is I, the Heroscape Goblin, and I had so much fun doing the last video talking about the Battle for Black Scar Battle Box. I just wanted to go ahead and jump right into some of the other figures here that were announced for Secrets of the Citadel. And so for that, we're going to start with the Paragons of the New Alliance Army Expansion Set. And the first figure that we will be starting with is Joan of Arc, so let's jump right into it. Joan of Arc, gosh, I think there was awkwardly a VC release of Joan of Arc not too long before we saw the leaks for the new Joan of Arc figure, but hey, there's definitely room for both of them in the community, definitely, so the more the merrier, I'd say. But for this Joan of Arc figure, let's check out the stats. Well, actually, before we look at the stats, we'll just look at the figure itself. The model, I think, looks really nice. I saw some complaints on the face, but throughout the community. But I think the face looks fine. I think she looks fierce. I think she looks like she's in the midst of battle. I mean, if there's any complaints, it's a very small one. But I mean, a little bit of blue highlights within her outfit, I think would have been a nice touch, especially since every figure here that we're going to be talking about is Jeanne D'Arc. But she still definitely has the look of Jeanne D'Arc with the valiant knights and steel and all that. So, but for the stats on the right-hand side, let's look at that. She has a life of 4 and a defense of 2. So overall survivability of about, what does that be, like 8 or so. I'd definitely rather have more life than defense if I had to pick one or the other. So definitely, I'd say more survivable than the impression would give. 4 life and 2 defense. But the range is 1, move of 5, and attack value of 3. So everything else pretty middle of the road basic. But only 40 points. So surprisingly, I don't know exactly how many points you'd qualify a filler unit. I think I said in the last video about anything 25 and under, but even that's incorrect because Kita would be a good filler unit, and Kita's like 30 points or so. 40 points isn't that far off. So if you have a Jeanne D'Arc army, I don't know if she has any Jeanne D'Arc. I mean Valiant synergy. So if you're looking for some Valiant synergy, champion knight, someone to bond with the Frost Claws potentially. I don't know if she'd fit the best, but let's look at the abilities and maybe that she would. Well, I just jumped right over it, but we'll just double down on that. She's a human, unique hero, champion, and knight. So get the knight and champion synergy, and valiant as well. A couple different synergies there across the board, and we'll look at the special abilities here. Shield of Faith 13. If this figure would be affected by an attack, after attack dice are rolled, you may roll the d20. If you roll a 13 or higher, ignore all wounds the figures you control would take from that attack. If you use the Shield of Faith 13, this figure cannot roll defense dice against this attack, which I guess you wouldn't need to if it worked. But I guess if it doesn't work, then you can, right? Oh, wait, if you used? Okay, so maybe not, but basically, if this figure would be affected by an attack after a day. Okay, so basically just, I suppose before you roll your defense dice, you roll the d20 to see if it would ignore all the wounds. Or you could just choose not to use that and just roll your 2 defense. Based on the odds, I don't know which one would be more viable. I guess it depends on how many attack dice are getting thrown at you. But as we're going to get into the next ability, it may not be a bad idea to kill off Joan of Arc because she has Faithful Spirit. And when Joan of Arc is destroyed, you may place her figure on a unique army card. While she is on that army card gains Shield of Faith 13 special power. If the figure of that army card rolls a 1 or 6, the Shield of Faith 13 is completely removed from that army card. So, 1 through 6 versus 7 through what? 13? Oh no, it's 13 or higher is the likelihood. But and then if you roll a 7 through 12, nothing happens. So kind of interesting. I don't necessarily know how the statistics would match up on if it'd be worth it, but potentially there might be some units where you might want to throw this onto, maybe as like an extra layer of protection. So, I mean, but it looks like if you use the Shield of Faith, then you don't get to roll defense dice against the attack. So if you roll for the Shield of Faith and it doesn't work, then basically you're just getting attacked without rolling defense dice, which is horrible. So that's kind of rough. I will be honest. I don't even know if that might be worth it to put on other units. But you know, that's what first impressions are all about. We're not really sure how this is going to show up when we eventually play with these figures. But we'll move on to the last ability here. Reach. If an enemy figure is within 2 spaces of her and its base is no more than 3 levels above or 3 levels below, you may add 1 to her range value when attacking that figure. So basically, as long as they're not too high up or too down below, she always has a range of 2, which is an interesting range value. Off the top of my head, I don't think any other figure has a range value of 2. I'm not positive if another figure has this ability, Reach. So, but yeah, not a bad figure. 40 points. I'd be interested to see how exactly she can be used effectively, because I'm not saying she's not an effective looking unit, but just right first impressions, I'm having trouble envisioning what kind of army you would throw this in. Because, you know, with Frost Claws, I don't know of any other time I wouldn't just take Prince Knight Adelburn unless I don't have enough points for him. Of course, Joan of Arc is significantly less points, but anyway, we'll just get into the very next figure. Alright, so next up we have Concan the Kairi Warrior, or rather the return of Concan the Kairi Warrior. Similar to Sudema, I haven't had an opportunity to play him before, you know, getting the newer version of the unit here, so that'll be fun to get him. I will say, I checked out the original sculpt of Concan the Kairi Warrior, and his face, I mean, some of the old faces of the Heroscape figures kind of looked wonky, I'm not gonna lie, looking at you, Sergeant Drake. But, you know, Concan definitely had an interesting looking appearance there, that's all I'm gonna say. And then, I would say, and then keeping with that, his sculpt, just, it's not a bad sculpt, because I like the way it looks. Overall, it's, you know, really cool looking warrior unit. But the face just isn't quite what the artwork looks like. There's a little bit of a discrepancy there. Tiny little nitpick, but other than that, I mean, I like the figure. I like that he has a blue cape with the little Jeanne D'Arc symbol underneath it, from what it looks like. So very much going forward with the new lore of how Jeanne D'Arc and Utgar are aligning with a new pact called the New Alliance, I believe. So yeah, let's get into his stats here. Concan the Kairi Warrior, he has a life of 6 and a defense of 4. Really solid right there, right off the bat. Survivability of about 24 there. Move of 5, range of 1. An attack of 4, so pretty average move and range, and he has an attack of 4. He does have flying, so that kind of helps out with the move. Gets the upper hand above those who aren't flying with a move of 5. But we'll look at the left side here. He's a Kairi, unique Kyrio, champion and warrior, and he is valiant. And medium 5 for the height. But we'll get into his special abilities here. He has the Might of Bleakwood. Other Jeanne D'Arc figures you control within 5 clear sight spaces of Concan the Kairi Warrior, add 1 to their attack value if there is a revealed order marker on an Utgar army card. And then we'll just get into the next one, that way we can talk about these abilities in conjunction with one another. Vigilance of Nostrland. Utgar figures you control within 5 clear sight spaces of Concan add 1 to their defense value if there is an revealed order marker on a Jeanne D'Arc army card that is within your army. So basically, in effect, he synergizes with Utgar and Jeanne D'Arc, and you kind of need to have both for either one of the abilities to work. But I mean, if one ability is going to be working, the other one is too. Maybe not on that same round, but overall throughout your army. But you just got to have them within 5 clear sight spaces. It's unfortunate that it's just not an overall buff that you don't have to worry about where you're placing him, but I do think you're gonna you're gonna want him on the front lines for the most part. I mean, he has a pretty high defense, so as long as you can hide him around things and whatnot. But I like Concan. Very different abilities from what he had originally. I believe he added defense to those around him who were, I believe, sentinels and sentinels and knights adjacent to him add an additional attack and defense dice. So now it applies specifically more to Utgar and Jeanne D'Arc, and they don't even have to be adjacent, so that's cool. But yeah, he's 100 points. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, just pretty solid points there. It's nice to see another Kyrie warrior added to the pool here, and then we'll get into the next figure. All right, this is a fun one. Frizzt Galagan is his name. First time I read it, I thought it was Fritz, and now I kind of wish it was Fritz, but that's okay. It's Frizzt Galagan. This was that figure that very educated and observant Heroscape fans noticed were in the original ads for those like Heroscape webisodes, trailers back then that ran during the early 2000s, or not early 2000s, but mid 2000s rather, like 2010s, 2009, around there. Yeah. Really cool looking figure. It is fun to point out that he's not really wearing any pants. I don't know, like if the gallery, I think the other gallery wore pants. I don't know if it's a gallery thing or if it's just a Frizzt thing where he's just like, nah, man, no pants for me. Unnecessary. Hinders me in the heat of battle. But yeah, we'll check out the figure here. Really cool looking sculpt. No complaints there. I like that his wings are kind of hiding back there. Lots of complaints among the community about the gallery wings, and as much as I do like the gallery, I usually play against them because my brother really likes the gallery. And it is always fun when placing them, just trying to figure out how the heck to put them in a way where they can still be viable on that space. But yeah, we'll check out his abilities here, or we'll check out his stats here on the right hand side. Alright, so he has a life of 2, defense of 2, so similar to Joan of Arc there, and a move of 5, range of 5, attack of 2. So below average attack, decent range, pretty good range, and then a move of 5, average move there. And over on the left hand side, we can tell that he is a gallery, unique hero, sniper, and soldier, who is fierce, medium 5. So fierce, he gets that gallery synergy, I believe. And then sniper and soldier, gosh, I know there are synergies with if not the soldier, then the sniper too. I just cannot think of the synergies right now off the top of my head, just doing the first impressions. But usually when I do a more in-depth analysis of units, we'll talk about all the synergies and things like that. But with these first impressions videos, I just kind of want to, I don't really want to delve in too much because then my genuine reactions won't be as genuine, and I feel like that's more entertaining and more fun for me too. So, but yeah, his special abilities are Fire and When Ready. At the end of your turn, you may reveal the X order marker on this card and take a turn with him. No other army card may take this turn instead of Fritz. If Fritz moves during this turn, he cannot attack. So you can either get him into position, or if he's already in position, then he can fire there. But what was the caveat? No other army card may take this turn instead of Frizz. So no other... I know other characters can do things once X order markers are revealed. This one basically says one or the other. So, interesting there, to kind of not make it too overpowered. But yeah, he's got a move of 5, so with a range of 5, you might need to get him into closer position using that X order marker. But it's at the end of your turn, so there's no guarantees you're going to get the initiative if you want to move him into a position where he can attack. So it's rough. You don't want to put him into a position where he can attack, and then you lose the initiative, and then the enemy gets a jump on your Frizz. He's only got a life of 2 and defense of 2, so there's not much you can do to defend yourself there. I don't know if I mentioned, but he is only 35 points, so another great filler unit here. But his second ability, we got the RA-1A Guided Cannon Special Attack with a range of 10. What the heck? A range of 10 is insane. Gosh, off the top of my head, I do not think anyone else has a range of 10. Just right off the bat with any, general stats or special abilities. Like I've said before, I'm far from the most educated Heroscape player, so I'm not sure if there is anyone else out there that has that, a similar ability, but range of 10 is quite a lot. Especially depending on the map that you're on, you might be able to attack just with your first, move, which is pretty impressive. And then on top of that, so it was a range of 10, attack of 2, so it's the same attack that you're normally rolling with. And then but you have to be, so the caveat being, the Guided Cannon Special Attack can target only figures that are adjacent to one or more figures you control. So, I guess, take back what I said there. He cannot just shoot 10 right out of the gate, because you need to have an adjacent friendly figure against that figure that you're firing against in order to get this range of 10. And then on top of that, the figures who are getting shot never get the height advantage against this guided rocket special attack. So that's pretty neat. That makes sense why they threw that caveat in there of needing to have a friendly figure against that figure that you're firing against, because you'd be able just to shoot right off your first attack, off your first roll before the enemy has even gotten a chance to put anyone into position. So depending on the map, some maps, especially those homebrew maps, are huge. That's usually what I like to do. My brother and I, we like to make pretty big maps and then spend a couple hours playing a match. It's usually the way that we like to do it. But yeah, tangent aside, his last ability is Swim, so he doesn't have to stop his movement when he's entering water space. That's pretty nice. I feel like all Gallery are probably just going to have Swim. That'd be weird if one didn't. Maybe if one guy had too much armor or something on. Maybe that's why he's not wearing pants, because if he wore pants, he wouldn't be able to swim. Who knows? But yeah, that's Frizzt Galagan. So he's 35 points. Joan of Arc was, 40 points, I believe? Yeah, 40 points for her. Concan was only 100, so not that bad. This whole box, all of the units are pretty small, point-wise, so I always like to see that. Sometimes I run armies where I kind of have a couple figures that I already want to use, and I'm taking up a lot of points already, so it's nice to be able to squeeze in some of these new figures into those armies. But before we finish up, I just wanted to touch on, looks like they are putting 2 glyphs in with this pack. And like I stated before, the glyphs are going to come with hex cards, which are kind of nice, because I do not remember the glyphs all the time, and often I have to Google what they mean. So this is pretty nice. The Sword of Guthur, I think that's how you pronounce it. But it looks like it's a Finn the Viking Warrior's sword. Permanent treasure glyph. Friendly figures adjacent to this hero add 1 to their attack value. So Yep, same thing as Finn, but what was it? Figures adjacent add 1 to their attack value. It's not with a range of 1, like it is with interesting. You don't spread that attack value aura to those with only a range of 1 like Finn does. So you can be next to a ranged figure and that'll up their attack value. That's interesting. Quite interesting, quite useful. Might be overpowered, we will see. Alright, and then we also got the Spear of Gerda. Permanent treasure glyph. Other figures you control within 3 clear sight spaces of this hero add 1 to their defense value. So what, I think this is Raylan's spear, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, within 3 clear sight spaces, only adding 1 to their defense value, so it's a little bit nerfed, but still pretty good. I think Raylan's kind of overpowered as it is. That's why they had to up her points when Renegade started doing Heroscape. So, but yeah, I think that basically covers everything. Yeah, we got the 3 figures, 2 treasure glyphs. Went over the cards. Yeah, and then the treasure glyph has cards. So, yeah, that's everything that's included in there. Looks like the painted edition is only going to be $45, which is really good, really fairly priced. And then the unpainted edition is going to be $35. And honestly, I mean, if you like painting, it's not like these ones should be... I mean, hey, I'm not a painter, so I really shouldn't say, oh, this one looks easy to paint or this one looks difficult to paint. But I mean, as far as colors go, it looks like you're only going to be using like 3 different colors. You know, my different shades and all that. But yeah, I know that my brother likes to paint some of his figures. I usually like to just buy mine pre-painted. But I mean, only $10 price difference between the two. So it's not like, you know, if you do want painted, you're not having to fork over an arm and a leg. So yeah, I think that basically finishes up for the Paragons of the New Alliance Army Expansion Pack. Definitely be adding this. I mean, I'm going to be getting every single Secrets of the Citadel release. But yeah, this one is definitely going to be one of the ones that I'm looking forward to getting. You know, I'm not going to get them all at once. I don't have the capabilities of doing that, so I usually just like to get the ones that I like the most in order. So I think I'll be starting with the Black Scar Battle Box, and then I'm either probably going to buy this one next, or the Utgar pack that we'll be jumping into in a future video. All right, that finishes up. I appreciate y'all who have been sticking with me until the end of the video, and I hope you have a brilliant rest of your day. Peace out.